August 1939, physicists Leo Szilard and Eugene Wigner drafted the Einstein-Szilard letter, which warned the world of extremely powerful bombs of a new type. It urged the U.S. to take the steps to acquire stockpiles of uranium-1 and accelerate the research of Enrico Fermi and others into nuclear chain reactions. Due largely to persistent official lack of interest, the progress on the subject was desultory and inconclusive in the United States. The next key developments occurred in the United Kingdom. Through 1940 and 1941, work accelerated in the United States and important discoveries accumulated although official interest languished. On September 3, 1941, with Prime Minister Churchill's endorsement, the British Chiefs of Staff agreed to begin the development of an atomic bomb. The Manhattan Project predecessor, codenamed the S-1 Project, was headed by Arthur H. Compton. Throughout early and mid-1942, fundamental neutron physics research proceeded as they worked in developing industrial-scale processes for producing atomic materials. On June 18, 1942, General Steyer ordered Colonel James Marshall to organize an Army Corps of Engineers district to take over and consolidate atomic bomb development. During the fall, while Enrico Fermi built CP-1 in Chicago, Leslie Groves took the atomic material programs out of the hands of scientists and placed them under the management of industrial corporations like DuPont and the Kellogg Corporation. On October 15, 1942, Leslie Groves asked Dr. Robert Oppenheimer to head Project Y, the new planned central laboratory for weapon physics research and design. Oppenheimer was a professor of physics at Berkeley, and he demonstrated a special skill at leading groups of scientists, even one during the S-1 program. On December 1, 1942, after 17 days of round-the-clock work, Fermi's group completed CP-1 when Fermi projected that a critical configuration had been reached. It contained 36.6 metric tons of uranium oxide, 5.6 metric tons of uranium metal, and 350 metric tons of graphite. On December 2, 1942, CP-1 went critical and was allowed to reach a thermal output of 0.5 watts. In January 1943, Groves acquired the Hanford Engineer Works, 780 square miles of land on the Columbia River in Washington, for plutonium production reactors and separation plants. During the remainder of 1943, work continued on the construction of the plutonium production facilities at Hanford and the uranium enrichment plants at Oak Ridge. A large experimental graphite reactor was also constructed at Oak Ridge to provide research qualities of plutonium and went critical on November 4th. The first attempt at large-scale uranium enrichment was the electromagnetic alpha tracks at Oak Ridge. They went online in the fall but failed completely, and by the end of the year, complete rebuilding was ordered. Also in the fall, Project Alberta began. Its purpose was to prepare for the actual combat delivery of atomic weapons by conducting weapons delivery tests, modifying aircraft for carrying the atomic weapons, and organizing and training flight crews and field teams for weapon handling. Throughout 1944, work proceeded on all fronts: weapon development, atomic material production, and combat delivery preparations. In January, a major problem surfaced when the diffusion barriers intended for the K-25 gaseous diffusion plant at Oak Ridge went critical. The process then began to seem unpromising, and Groves switched production to a new process, creating months of delays in equipping K-25 for operation. On April 5th, the first sample of X-10 reactor-produced plutonium arrived from Oak Ridge. Emilio Sergei immediately began monitoring its spontaneous fission rate. By April 15th, his preliminary estimate of a spontaneous fission rate indicated that it was far too high for weapon assembly. By mid-May, 6 months after the start of accelerated implosion research, little progress towards successful implosion had been made, including one failed attempt at implosion. On July 1st, 1944, the Manhattan Project was granted the highest project-wide procurement priority in the world. On August 6, 1945, at the final stages of World War II, the bomb, also known as Little Boy, was deployed towards Hiroshima and killed 90,000 to 166,000 within the first 2 to 4 months. 3 days later, the bomb, also known as Fat Man, was deployed to hit Nagasaki, and that bomb killed 60,000 to 80,000 within the first 2 to 4 months. On August 10, 1945, Japan surrendered to the United States and brought an end to World War II. Thousands of stressed and injured soldiers came home to families who thought they lost their loved ones. This was the time where the United States began to rebuild what was lost.